Oh, it's me. How you doing? Hope you're doing good. Yeah, I am right now filming from Roosevelt Island. Look at the pretty river coast. What's nice is that when I'm here, it's like I walk by the river and I can smell the ocean, which is something one of the few things I miss about living in New England. Just or visiting New England, I should say. I don't know. Anyway, I like the smell of the ocean. It's a little funky, but it's a nice feeling. It's good. I'm not on Roosevelt Island very often, but really the reason why I'm ever here is because one of the schools I work at is a school that focuses their curriculum for children with developmental and learning disabilities, like autism, ADHD, ADD, dyslexia, dyspraxia, I think it is. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, it's a big IEP program, essentially. And it's really cool that New York City has schools like this where they can cater their curriculum to that group of kids, because otherwise, when school systems don't have that, it kind of does a big disservice to children with disabilities. And it's something that's necessary, even though people might not think so, but sometimes you gotta adapt in order to, make it work. And so that the kids are in a supportive environment, one that supports whatever needs that they might have, however mild or severe they might be. Things like that. And as awesome as it is that there are places like this that exist, back where I grew up, the school system was not as accommodating towards children with special needs and or disabilities, things like that. I know one thing from my personal experience is that part of the reason why I did not grow up with that when I probably should have, well, for context, I did have an IEP for about 2 years when I was like a kid. And the Catholic school I went to was not respecting the IEP at all and didn't give a shit. So I got moved to a different school which had an ICT program, which is mixed like mainstream and IEP programs with kids, like some kids with special needs, some kids who don't. And I think that's a really awesome thing that they do. I did that for a year, and then all of a sudden, because I made progress, and because it meant taking me, my sister, and brother to 2 different schools, which are both very close to where I live, by the way, at least where I lived at the time, and other reasons that I don't understand, my parents decided, you know what, it's fine, we don't need to do this, and that's something that I think can be a problem. I can understand parents being, hoping for the best with their kids, yes, that's one thing, but also, assuming the best for their kids, that they are capable, that's nice, I guess, but also, if you notice that maybe there's improvement in somewhere versus where they were before, maybe you want to stick with the things that are helping with the improvement. And because of that and other details about that I think I'd rather not get into at the moment, every time I come work at this school over here, it's a high school, by the way, but we do have younger kids there once in a while. Every time I do go there, it's cool to be in that environment and that it exists, but also it kind of reminds me of something I could have had, but was denied, and on top of that, not knowing about any of this until a bit later in my life. So that's something I've been personally dealing with, for a long time. Because I didn't know anything about any of my diagnoses until, anything like that. I didn't know it until I was 17. I'm 27 now. So I learned about it only 10 years ago. And I got the final answers to, I guess, what's going on in here. Well, maybe not the final answers. I got some of the picture. I got the important questions answered. 3 days before I moved to New York City. Whoops. So, when you're learning about this as an adult, and you're kind of on your own and have to advocate for yourself, it's not easy. I'm sure there's many other people out there who are dealing with the same thing or something similar to what I'm dealing with. Because when you're in a position where you can, I guess, pretend it's not there, it's different from when it's so obvious and so needed that you can't ignore it. You're forced to not ignore it. So it kind of sucks when you're in a situation where you could possibly ignore it because it's not convenient for you to deal with it or whatever's going on. Yeah. So that's fun. If you happen to be somebody watching this who may know somebody in this sort of predicament or maybe is dealing with this sort of need, here's my advice. If you notice something that's best for your kid, like something that's really good for them, don't take that away from them. Just don't. Even if it's a pain in the ass, because dealing with anything that's outside of the norm is a massive pain in the ass. I understand. But it's better that you do it. And it's also good from the perspective of, like, my personal perspective in my situation, or anything like my situation. They'll thank you for it later, that you fought for them. Definitely try to mingle with all sorts of groups of kids. Even if your kid doesn't have special needs, let them mingle with kids who do and educate them about it. Or, try to educate them about it. Let them experience different things. Even if it's weird. Just let them try. As long as you're not hurting anybody, or yourselves, or your kids, you're fine. And kids aren't fucking stupid. I definitely can say that with this job. Kids are a lot smarter than people think they are. They're not stupid. And sometimes, if they know you're not going to help them, they know not to turn to you. I'm telling you that right now. I've had kids tell me very personal things about themselves, and I just work with them for a couple hours a week. But I've had kids trust me with interesting information. So, they'll learn real quick if they can trust you. It's a thing. And I certainly remember knowing who I can and cannot trust as a kid. So, yeah. Kids aren't stupid. They're pretty smart. I don't know what else I wanted to cover, but I knew that this is something that had been bugging me. Anytime I come over here to work at this school, it's a constant reminder of, what I should have been growing up with. And I'm hoping that other parents don't make the same mistakes. Obviously, I'm not a parent, nor will I be a parent. I don't plan on it, and I have no intention of having children, ever. I don't mind working with them, but I don't want children. However, I can speak from, using my perspective. I'm hoping that helps people understand why these sorts of programs are important. It makes life a little less complicated, especially when you have, something going on in your brain that makes you deviate from the norm. Yeah, when you're not a neurotypical human, which means, you don't have any disabilities or anything like that, you're just a regular person, it's hard enough navigating your life, probably, as someone who doesn't deal with this sort of shit. But when you have a neurodiverse brain, it makes navigating your life way harder and scarier. Because life can get overwhelming real quick. So, if you got a good foundation, you'll be fine. But if you don't, I promise you, if you find a good support system, please, I really hope you do. Because it will really help. It may be in the most unlikely places, too. Yeah, be a good support system for people with disabilities. Don't judge them. And just don't judge people. Because you don't know what they're going through. You don't know their life. You don't know their story. Stuff. I think that was all I was going to say, but hope you guys are all doing well, and just to let you know, I'm trying to decide when to do Saturday's live stream. I know Jacksepticeye is doing a charity live stream on Saturday. I'm probably gonna start mine after, I don't know, after his is done, or like, I don't know yet. I'm gonna possibly hold off on it for a little while until maybe later in the stream, or like, maybe after it's done. Maybe I'll move it to Sunday. I'll post on Twitter about that. So keep an eye on that. And, yeah, otherwise, see you next time. Bye-bye.